Right, so my name's Rhys. There we go. I have never held a mic before, but that's okay. We're gonna get it done. So, like Daniel was saying, it is a matter of giving your life to God, and my journey isn't to glorify me, but is to glorify God.
Yep.
And it is not to say how good I am, but how probably bad I was to how good God is. Sorry to disturb this worship session, but let me try. So, I'll take you back a little bit if that's okay. I started when I came over to Melbourne from Manchester, England, representing Came over and I went through a bit of a hard time because I left the family. It was actually in my head at the time, I was 11, and in my head I got dragged away from the family. I was like, why are you taking me from my grandfather and all these people? Obviously my mum was doing it for us, but it left me in a place of anger and joyless. I thought, you know what, as a young man, I was like, stuff is on, do you know what I mean? And I rebelled against my family, my school, pretty much everything you can possibly rebel against, just out of, you know, me ego, and I guess I was too young to understand the world at the time. But that led to fighting, I'm gonna not go into too much detail, but we'll say fighting, and then that led into, you know, the wrong group of people to then get influenced, well, you know, into the drug scene, drug taking, dealing, but a load of stuff. And I thought, you know, at the age of about 21 years old, I moved to Byron Bay. Again, this is all without Christ. This is before Christ, right? This is BC. And I went to Byron Bay, and that is a spiritual place in itself. And I was like, man, I gotta grow. So that was a step forward to me. I was trying to grow. Go, you know what? I'm messed up in the head. Let me try and grow. So I went to Byron Bay, and I did dabble with, you know, the spirituality, the breath work, the Wim Hof, you know, all these things which were great, temporary. You know, they temporarily worked for like 10 minutes of, I guess, a relief of the heart. And I think we can all say that the heart is just heavy these days. I think, I don't know, I was going through it, and I can never really say I was that joyful. But this was just a really bad time for me. And I'm sitting there going like, what's going on? Like, is it just me? And it felt like it was just me. It got to a point where I couldn't even, to just tell you the state of mind I was in, not, you know, but it was a point where I couldn't even ask for a coffee at the cafe shop because of the anxiety-riddled shell of a human being, which is what I became through following the heart. They say follow the heart, follow the you know, do whatever you want to do, and you'll be sweet, you'll be happy. But for me, that was not true. Anyway, fast forward, long story short, I was messed up, yeah, and I was a shell, even through the spirituality, without Christ in the center. Mind you, breathwork and that is Christian as well, it's in the Bible, but without Christ in the center, didn't do much for me. So, got a bit of trouble with the police, was on bail for about 1.5 years, came down to Launceston about 4 years ago, right? Launceston, beautiful place, right? Came down to Launceston, and long story short, again, still broken for about 1 year here. I'm cooking me steak. So this is the one night, right? I'm cooking me steak at 8 o'clock at night, 2023, right? Now this is my experience with God. I was sitting there cooking me steak, and I'm listening to a podcast between a Christian man and a Muslim man, and they were both disagreeing and agreeing on many points, right, about the similarities and just lots of things they were talking about. And it was quite an interesting podcast. But they're sitting there, and one thing that caught me ear as I was sitting there cooking me steak, you know, is they both agreed on, if you didn't worship something above yourself, then you end up worshiping yourself. And the idea was worshiping yourself through like the worldly things like lust and, you know, sex and alcohol and all these things that I was as a young man doing, you know, and that just made a lot of sense to me. So I was like, okay, so they're saying, you know, if you worship something above yourself, then your flesh is no longer, you know, the pain, the thorn in your side, right? So I was like, okay, sweet. And I put my hands out like this, and I said, go on then. I said, sweet, if that's the case, then I give my life to God, as in not really understanding what I was doing. But I've been to youth a couple of times when I was younger, so I was like, alright, sweet. So okay, I give my life to God right now. I'm in my kitchen, cooking steaks burning. No, I'm going in. I give my life to God, and God showed up in my kitchen out of nowhere, hot flash straight from the top of my head, straight down my body, right? And everything got lifted, and there's. So it was lifted to a place where, like, I was like, what is going on? Fell to the ground, 5 hours, tears, crying. I'm a crybaby now, that's alright. I fell to the ground, I'm crying my eyes out and going, what is going on? I remember a chaplain that used to pray for me when I was younger, Paul Spiro, anyway, but yeah, he's a great lad. And I called him up saying, like, I'm in my kit, like, what's going on here? Like, what is this? And he goes, this is God. And, you know, and that's it. I was like, okay, sweet. So 3 years later, I'm standing here today. I've gone to church every single Sunday since. Not missed a session, not to show me up, but I'll tell you, like, I'm dedicated because I've tried literally everything from vices to meditation to it. And mind you, when I was on that meditation growth, I was trying to grow. I was trying, you know what I mean? I was trying to become a better man and all that other stuff. But now I'm free. My heart is free, and Jesus is the only way. Facts. You know. And I'd like to say as well, my journey after Christ is people get this notion that Christianity is a place of, you know, oh, you know, you can't do this and you can't do that, and now you can't go and have sex and you can't do this, and it's a set of rules that now you have to follow. And I just like to state that is a full-on lie, 100%. Like, I was in prison when I was following the worldly things. I was in prison when I was doing so-called the things that made you free, and living free with the me, the consumerism sort of transaction of life, going, yeah, it's got to be for me, you know what I mean? Like, because it feels good and everything feels good. So that just led down a really dark path for me. So the whole notion of giving my life to Christ is freedom. It's no longer, you know, a set of rules that I have to follow. So it makes me, it's the opposite. It's mad, you wouldn't think so, but it is. And that's my journey.
That's amazing.